Good evening and welcome to the land at Patriot Gym, where the Prairiland Lady Pat volleyball team is getting ready to take on the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs in a non-district competition. I'm Stephen Johnston. I'll be joined alongside Mr. Evan Brazil for tonight's broadcast on Paris Game Day as the teams warm up on the court. Thank you guys so much. As you come in, be sure if you're on Facebook watching, give that a share so that the community can know where they can watch Prairiland Lady Patriot volleyball here this evening. And with that said, the Prairiland Lady Patriots come in tonight with a 7-15 record on the season. They're out of District 12 3A, and that's the district with some very heavy hitters this year in Chisholm, Lone Oak, Commerce, Mount Vernon, and Rains. Rains, who's typically a pretty good team, having a rough go at it this year, but Chisholm, Lone Oak, and Commerce, the leaders in that district as we get ready for district play going forward. That'll begin on September 23rd for teams, and so very excited for that to get going. And with that, we have about a minute and a half until we get this one going here tonight. So we're going to step aside and have a commercial break. When we come back, we'll bring you the starting lineup for the Prairiland Lady Patriot volleyball team. You're watching the Lady Pats here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you gonna clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you gonna clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And we're back at Patriot Gym, and about 30 seconds until we get this thing underway. Got Evan Brazil with me, joining me here at the gym at the land. And I absolutely love that abbreviation for Prairiland, the land. It just feels intense. So with that, Evan, you had told me whenever we talked about bringing you on as someone to do play-by-play, you said you watched a little bit of college volleyball.
Oh, absolutely. I had a friend over at Baylor who liked to take me to some college volleyball games, and let me tell you, it is great to be at this one. It is a huge rivalry here at the land, the Chisholm Mustangs versus the Prairiland Patriots, and we're on hand for it. This is going to be a good one.
Absolutely. So with that said, you've got the Prairiland Lady Patriots starting lineup is going to include Addie Bettis, Sophia Patton, Reese White, who just hit a marvelous landmark, over 1,000 assists. As a matter of fact, over 1,200 assists in her career. McKee O'Neill, Brooklyn Robertson, and Jara Johnson will be the lineup for the Prairiland Lady Patriots as they get ready to take on the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs here this evening. And this will be a best out of 5 set, so that'll be determined, of course, first to 3 as the ladies take to the court.
Good evening, volleyball fans. Welcome to Prairiland High School. Would you please rise for the national anthem?
And we will have our national anthem and then get this one underway here on Game Day, and we'll leave it here for you guys to enjoy our nation's anthem. They'll introduce the visitors from Hughes Springs, and then, of course, the starting lineups for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, and we'll get this one underway. The season for the Prairiland Lady Patriots this year, they've got a lot of returning talent, and that includes Addie Bettis, who is their leader in kills this year with 207. She's sitting at 866 career kills. Her career high was as a sophomore when she totaled 325 kills that year. Also, heck of a defensive player as well, as she is the team leader in digs, just narrowing out her teammate, Jara Johnson. Bettis, 150 digs on the season. Johnson, 127. Those are the defensive leaders for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, and it could be close. But Addie Bettis, just as we talked about Reese White having 1,000 assists in her career, Addie could come up on 1,000 digs in her career. And she's 110 away from that total. So certainly a young lady who has had a phenomenal career. And then you talk about Reese White, what she's been able to accomplish. Young lady like McKee O'Neal, who has had a phenomenal year as well. 113 digs for her last year, 136. So she certainly looks to eclipse that total from a year ago. Ceremoniously shaking hands at midcourt and then getting into their huddle, and we'll get this thing going from here out in Pattonville, where the Prairiland Lady Patriots are taking on the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs in a non-district contest. Almost a moment of silence type feeling. Usually you hear some real big roars from these girls who are cheering, and there we go. So for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, we mentioned the start of district coming up, and they'll get things going on the 23rd against Lone Oak on the road. They'll finish up non-district with a pretty tough schedule against 4A Paris and then against Class 4A Sulphur Springs. So for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, certainly wanting to be tested by that bigger competition before they go into district play in a very tough district. They are on a small 2-game win streak, including against Class 4A Pittsburgh. Last week, picked up that win. And now you're going to have Kylie Fox rotating in. Kylie, you'll see that brace on her right leg. Fantastic to see that she's been playing and healthy. As first serve is going to come from Reese White. A bump and to McKee. McKee sends it over, and Hughes Springs delivers right back. And this one kind of stuck in no man's land. It seemed like a little bit of confusion as far as communication at the net.
Miscommunication on that one. The defense is going to be the key to this game for Prairiland. You're going to need to force Hughes Springs to be creative on offense and be strong in the middle if you want to win this one.
This one getting a little bit caught up in the net. Reese White had a tough time getting that one bumped back into the air, and a quick 2-0 advantage here in the first set for the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. I think they're going to say she got caught in the net. So that point we'll go over to Hughes Springs again. Backside set, and this one just a little too far out. I'm not sure if she was attempting to set her outside hitter behind her or a little bit of a dump kill. This time, great hit They're going to say it snuck in there, and that'll be the first point. Or did they? No, they're. Well, the scoreboard put it for Prairiland, and Prairiland was treating it as if it was their point. And we'll get an answer from that soon, but here this time, like I said, good job defensively, but just couldn't return service on that ball. And now, according to the scoreboard, it'll be 6-0. As nice touch at the net by Leland Jones to make it an easier return service there. And now a hard shot across the net coming from Jared Johnson, too hot to handle for Hughes Springs, and now I guess officially the first point for the Prairiland Lady Patriots.
And Prairiland gets a good attack there. We had seen them thus far in the game struggle to set up their offense, but they're able to find it there and get the kill.
It's going to be Robertson with the serve here. And just a little mental lapse on the other side from Hughes Springs. It's coming dead at you. You know what to do. You've done it 1,000 times, and this time it just doesn't happen.
Sometimes you miss the handle on that one as they continue to settle into this game. That's one you don't see a whole lot from a team like Hughes Springs.
A nice attempt on the block from O'Neal. The ball goes astray, and the point goes over to the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs, now with a 7-2 advantage. We're awaiting the official to give okay as Hughes Springs makes their rotation. Now I guess we're getting, I think the official told one of the young ladies to tie her shoe.
Quiet atmosphere in here for this one.
Yeah, we got a good crowd. Solid crowd up there for the Prairiland Lady Patriots. Fall behind 7-2, and they're a little bit silent here. And this service goes long.
And you needed that one if you're Prairiland. Hughes Springs jump out to an early lead. This is where you tie the game up and get right back in it.
O'Neal. Nice serve. Hughes Springs returns, setting up Bettis, and she gets the kill. Or they give it to Hughes Springs. They must have said she got in the net. I'm not entirely sure, but
we've seen that a couple of times thus far in the game from here on the opposite side. Look to be in bounds, but point to Hughes Springs on that one.
And this time it's going to go long. Yeah, of course, we're on the baseline of the basketball court, if you will, so perhaps they said it went long. Prairiland certainly felt that they had that kill, and this time they certainly do have it. As Sophia Patton places it over, and it finds the hardwood. Yeah, there's been a couple of instances where it looked like they made a good quality play, and from our vantage point, seemed like they had the point, but this time goes into the net, so certainly clear on which direction that goes. Jared Johnson serving, and it goes over to Hughes Springs. 10-4, we're in the first set here at Prairiland.
Oh, lovely spin on that one. It dropped right over the net for the point. The Prairiland definitely not expecting it to fall like it did. Excellent service from Hughes Springs.
Good service. It's just depending on how you're set up. And then she drills one into the net, make it 11-5. Certainly not an insurmountable lead for Hughes Springs, but this will be a contest of, to me, who makes the fewest mistakes. You called it a defensive battle here tonight, and that could certainly be the case. There's not necessarily the physically imposing 5'10", 5'11", big, hard slammers up front. So it's going to come down to, you know, who's able to get that dig, who's able to get the bump in the right position and help your teammates. And in that regard, the Prairiland Lady Patriots have fallen behind 12-5.
Absolutely, and we've seen a couple mental errors thus far on Hughes Springs' part, handles that didn't quite go their way, but Prairiland still with a bit of a deficit here they're trying to dig themselves out of.
Setting up outside and blocked at the net. Job well done by both teams there. Defensively, O'Neal, a great job of bumping back to the right side, and it finds the hardwood.
And that was a great play. Setting it up is the hardest thing to do in volleyball, and she places it exactly in the right spot for her spiker there.
Bettis to serve. With 24 aces on the year, and this time, return service from Hughes Springs. And a nice back set that dumps over the net. Kind of hard to gauge if you're Hughes Springs. Is it a true back set or is it a dump kill? It ended up being a dump kill. Bettis serves again, comes in hot. And Hughes Springs does a great job of finding a way to get that one over.
And that one came right off the side of her wrist there. Maybe not the place she intended to strike the ball, but it found the ground there.
So 13-7 as Prairiland got off to a slow start. It's been a little bit trading points ever since then. Hughes Springs sets up for a big spike and maybe didn't get all that she thought she could on it, but nonetheless, it finds the floor. And now the Lady Mustangs from Hughes Springs have doubled up Prairiland here in the first set, 14-7. There's a nice traditional back set. And Reese White eventually ends up with the point for Prairiland.
Hughes Springs with a great save on that one. They can't convert it to the offensive play there, right into the net.
Reese White to serve. Hughes Springs trying to catch Prairiland out of position, but instead it'll be Jared Johnson with the kill. And now this is the opportunity for the Prairiland Lady Patriots with Reese White at service. Let's make a little bit of a comeback, get back into this one. Fantastic effort from Fox. And then it stays on the Hughes Springs side of the net. Lady Mustangs finally able to get it over. And a big swing and a miss from Johnson ends up awarding a point over to Hughes Springs.
And a big block by Hughes Springs. We felt Prairiland start to gain some momentum. That ball was set up really nice, but missing the mark on the kill.
This time received by Bettis. Jones can't quite put it over. (16 to 9). Prairiland was cutting into the lead. And now Hughes Springs with a couple of straight points as Bettis gets set up. Nice hit back over the net. And then defensively, Bettis. This could end up with a Hughes Springs defensive play that saved a point. Yeah, this is the type of game on this rally here, Evan, that we kind of thought we would see. Very good defensive rally for both teams.
Absolutely, and some great reaction on defense by Bettis in the back row.
Jones with a big hit, and once again, Hughes Springs saves. That ball right near the line. Fox decides to keep it in play instead of taking the risk. And now, finally, after a long volley, it'll end up with the Prairiland Patriots taking the point.
And that's a great one for Prairiland. Even if you don't take this set, moving on to the next one, being able to hang with Hughes Springs on that one, volley it back and forth. Great mental win for the Patriots.
Brooklyn Robertson set to serve for the Prairiland Lady Patriots. Hughes Springs does a good job getting an angle on that kill. Not quite cross court, but just enough to find the floor.
And that's a skill that's incredibly difficult to teach in volleyball, where to strike the ball on the floor. So they say some people have it and some people don't. Hughes Springs had it on that one.
Cross court set, and Prairiland saves it. Sent back over by Patton. Now they're going to say Hughes Springs probably got in the net on that one. Again, we have not the greatest vantage point, but nonetheless, that net's shaking, so I would assume that would be the case.
And we've seen both teams versus the net in this game, teams running up against it or serving the ball into it.
O'Neal. Nice presence at the net for Prairiland, and then Bettis takes a big swing, and that back set didn't quite do what they wanted for Hughes Springs. Ends up being a 4-hit. And Prairiland's kept it in this range. You know, they've cut it down to 5. They've trailed as many as 7, and then something of that sort will occur. And they just can't quite get past that 5-point deficit.
If you're Prairiland, you want to be able to carry some momentum, and that's going to start by stringing together some good plays. We've seen them put together some good hits. So we've seen them set it up beautifully in this game. They just need to string some together.
Set by Hughes Springs. Great job by O'Neal to keep that one in play. And a phenomenal block and kill for Addie Bettis. I mean, she read what was coming the entire way.
Always an asset, somebody who understands the game at a deep level.
So once again, back to that 5-point deficit. It's been difficult for Prairiland to overcome. And Bettis this time just can't quite sneak it in. The point will go over to Hughes Springs. So again, you cut it to 5, and then it goes to 6. And they've just kind of been going back and forth at this rate.
What we see is Prairiland at the moment playing Hughes Springs' game.
And that time, Bettis gets it to land in. A nice kill for her.
Now what you need here if you're Prairiland, an ace or a quick score. You want to carry some momentum and surmount this deficit. We'll see what they have on this one.
Fox sends it over. There's Jones at the net. Kind of reminiscent of what Bettis did a little bit earlier, this time on the return service, and Leland Jones.
That's exactly what you need if you want the tide to turn in this one.
O'Neal handles it to Johnson, to Bettis, and they're going to say point goes over to the Prairiland Patriots. So now 19-16, you got past that 5-point deficit mark and you're rolling a little bit. There's Leland Jones again. Same idea, same result. Timeout, Hughes Springs, 19-17. They feel their lead slipping away, and we will be right back here on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh yeah, Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
Out of the timeout, the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs have led this first set by as many as 7. And the Prairiland Lady Patriots, went back and forth between 5, 6, and 7-point deficits. They cut it to 5. Hughes Springs would blossom it out to about 7. And then finally, the Prairiland Lady Patriots got past that 5-point deficit mark, and now they're on a little bit of a roll.
And listen, they're having just the kind of run they need. We saw them playing Hughes Springs game, and maybe they were in their head a little, but now we see them starting to build some momentum.
And so this point, going over to the Prairiland Lady Patriots on the ball going out. And it's a 1-point deficit. And you've got Fox serving. And this one way out, and that's the thing about it. Whenever they start that comeback, your lead dwindles more and more. Your brain works harder and harder.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're Hughes Springs, the important thing here is not to panic. You've led in this game, and you've made some really great plays. Maybe you feel like if you're Hughes Springs, you've got some harder hitters than the Lady Patriots. So let's see how they hang on as Prairiland really building some momentum.
Absolutely. And speaking of hard hitters, Bettis with the kill. And that gives the Prairiland Lady Patriots the lead 20-19 here in this first set. And some of the things that kind of maybe fell Hughes Springs' way at the beginning of this set, now starting to go the way of the Prairiland Lady Patriots, as you see a number of tip balls at the net. Is O'Neal, nice effort. Very strong defensive service and rally from both teams here as Bettis sends it over and finds no man's land down the side. And the Prairiland Lady Patriots, they have scored 8 straight, coming down from 19-13 to lead 21-19. And we will be right back here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
As you guys come in, if you're watching on Facebook, with the Prairiland Lady Patriots taking that point there as well to extend the lead 22-19. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to give it a share to your page so that the community can know where they can watch Prairiland Lady Patriot Volleyball here tonight. On Friday, we'll be out in Delta County for the Cooper Bulldogs as they take on the Chisholm Mustangs. There's another point for Prairiland. So if you are a Chisholm Mustang supporter or a Cooper Bulldog supporter, we've got that football matchup for you Friday night on Paris Game Day. I'm very excited about that. And here we're going to have a double hit from the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. And now it's 11 straight points for the Prairiland Lady Patriots as Fox sends this one over, and Wow, I thought that would do it, but a phenomenal return service from Hughes Springs, and they're able to salvage a point thanks to it.
Absolutely, and if you're Prairiland, you've done just what you needed to do to settle into this game and really run your offense how you wanted to. We've seen great defense from them on the back end as well.
Hughes Springs sending it over. O'Neal handles it, set to Jones, and just kind of falls in between. Needed a little bit of air and distance down the net on that set. Back set. This time it falls, and the first game goes to Reese White's final kill in the Prairiland Lady Patriots, 25-21. They'll switch sides, and
we can
we'll
make your
take a
next
break
vehicle
and bring you
purchase.
the second set. Prairiland Lady Patriot Volleyball here on Paris Game Day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
Lady Patriots faced a 19-13 deficit in the first set, stormed all the way back, went on a phenomenal run, and ended up taking that first set 25-21 over the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. And Evan, as you said, it was all about them just settling in, getting the early kinks out, and once they found their stride, they really took over the back half of that set.
Oh, absolutely, and that really speaks to what non-district play can do for you. You want to be well tested, as you said, heading into district play. We saw the Lady Patriots really settle into that one, and Hughes Springs, we saw hints of this early on, but we really saw the mistakes start to mount and start to undo them in that set. We'll see if they can get back on track in the second one.
And that was really the case, as both teams kind of making some mistakes early on. Hughes Springs jumped out to that 7-2 lead, and that's just kind of where it stayed, going back and forth until Prairiland stopped making the mistakes. They started really commanding the court, harder hits, able to control their bumps and their sets a little bit better, ball falling towards the other side of the net, a couple of good luck things like that as well. And that's whenever the long run started, and the Prairiland Lady Patriots, who are looking to extend their win streak to 3, took that first set. And their last win this past Friday came against Class 4A Pittsburgh, so a good one to get momentum rolling. And then they'll have Class 4A Paris, and then they will take on Sulphur Springs. And district play starts soon after that. So for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, this is a good time for them to start playing their best volleyball.
Absolutely, and that's a difficult stretch of the schedule, but just what you want in the early part of the season. You want to work out the kinks now as you make a push to the playoffs.
So getting some final notes from the official. On the floor for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, Addie Bettis, along with Kylie Fox, Jara Johnson, Leland Jones. You've got Reese White out there, and McKee O'Neal. And just as the first set started, the second set begins with a Hughes Springs Lady Mustang point. You could understand the confusion there.
Oh, absolutely. And as we anticipate that game, it's guaranteed to be a big one. Prairiland hoping to build some momentum in this one and carry it into their district matchup against Chisholm and others.
Chisholm having a phenomenal year. Prairiland playing really well here as of late. Back dump kill. Did they sneak it in? And they're going to say yes. That was crafty.
It's all about finding those dead zones on the court and understanding what the other team is doing, where they're playing, and what zones they're going to favor based on what type of players they got. Prairiland able to find the right spot on that one.
Nice serve. And returned from Hughes Springs. Cross court down the line. And the Lady Mustangs take a 2-1 advantage here early on in the second set.
It's going to be the key to this second one. You are starting to get to know the other team. We're going to really have to see who blinks first in this one. You're starting to understand how the blockers are going to meet you close to the net, and that's going to be really important to how you're going to score points in this one. So as these two teams get to know each other, we'll see who's going to come out on top.
And that actually was a big factor at the end of the first set when we saw the Prairiland Lady Patriots on a number of occasions get to the net, get their hands up, get the wrists over the net, and do a phenomenal job of blocking. But here, it's almost like the old Yogi Berrism.
Just happens.
Deja vu all over again.
Sometimes it's a thing, as you said, you've done 1,000 times in practice, that when it comes game time, you can get the yips.
Hughes Springs trying to set it up, just going to have to bump it over. Jared Johnson with the big swing, handled by the back row of Hughes Springs. Little dump kill over, and Hughes Springs, like you said, knew where that dead zone was. Now 5-1.
And that's hard to see from the floor. Excellent job by Hughes Springs being able to find that spot.
Lady Mustangs to serve. Handled by White, and Hughes Springs, that's one of those that we were talking about, just the mistakes. That's a self-inflicted wound for the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. Nothing necessarily that Prairiland did spectacularly, just mishandled by Hughes Springs as O'Neal to serve. Lady Mustangs able to return, and there's a big swing that time from Patton. And then a dump kill, that one from Addie Bettis. And I tell you, sometimes, and I think this is the case here, you see the jersey, you see what player is coming up, and you think, okay, here's their big swinger. Here's the girl that tends to put a hole in the floor. And so you gear up, and then she dumps it right next to you.
Oh, absolutely. Hughes Springs definitely not expecting that one. Another mental mistake from Hughes Springs there. We're seeing this really start to mount for them. They've built leads here in this first and second set, but just starting to struggle in this one.
Yeah, between Prairiland playing better and Hughes Springs having those mental lapses, that has allowed the Prairiland Lady Patriots to overcome a couple of deficits, which, of course, it's almost, you could say, similar to basketball, or basketball is similar to volleyball, whichever way you want to go. It's a game of runs.
It is, absolutely. Just like in basketball, sometimes the shots are falling for one team or another. Just like we see right here, sometimes it's falling for Hughes Springs and right there for the Lady Mustangs.
Well, Patton knew exactly where Hughes Springs wasn't there. You could see her directing that ball. Now 6-5. Prairiland on a little 4-1 run as this one from Johnson goes into the net.
We've seen the net monster get a few servers in this game. Those are ones you always want back. Serves right into the net.
Real nice serve, but a job well done to return from Prairiland, but it sets up Hughes Springs for a point. Now 8-5. I tell you, I don't know who has the better celebrations and cheers and chants, volleyball or softball.
It's an important part of both games, especially as the season goes on. You're hanging in it. You've got girls getting injured.
Yeah, I think it also can help with the next ball mentality, as Bettis sends this one over hot, but Hughes Springs digs it out. And will they be able to return this one? Great defensive effort from Hughes Springs, set up for Bettis one more time, and they are not going to be able to get this one in. Just a little bit long, had the right idea.
If you're Hughes Springs right now, you might think about working the passes more into the offense. We've seen Prairiland out of rotations a few times in this set. Might see them try to work the passes in a little bit more, get Prairiland out of sorts.
Bettis once again tries to take a big swing, and Hughes Springs does a good job at the net. And they've taken this lead up to 5. Prairiland Lady Patriots leading 1-0. Hughes Springs may be finding their stride, as that was a nice serve, and now a timeout taken by the Prairiland Lady Patriots. We're going to take one with them. We'll be right back here on Paris Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And welcome back on Paris Game Day. The Prairiland Lady Patriots up 1-0 on the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs, visiting the land here tonight. The second set, Hughes Springs up 11-5. I want to take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors, Roadrunner Service and Tire, as well as Glass Land and Home. Thank you guys so very much for supporting our athletes here on Paris Game Day. Nice serve from Hughes Springs, handled well by Prairiland, and then a hustle play from Hughes Springs. And there's Reese White, and a couple of deflections, and Hughes Springs is able to get it back over. And then, man, Hughes Springs able to get that ball up in the air on some of these deflections. And they hit the standard. 11-6, and in volleyball, of course, if you're relatively new to the sport, as I would say that I am for sure, it doesn't matter if it hits and goes inside or outside, it's dead at that point. As Prairiland, Fox sends the service over. Set to Bettis, and just beautifully done. Like I said, she saw the rotation and knew where a Hughes Springs Lady Mustang wouldn't be.
If you're Hughes Springs right here, this is kind of maybe reminding you of last set where you built a lead of a few points, but were undone by the mistakes. You want to calm down here, eliminate the mistakes, and do what you know you can do. Do what you practiced in this one.
Yeah, and if you're Hughes Springs, the lead is aided a little bit by Prairiland mistakes, such as that one. You know, you got a pretty clear hit, basic, get it over, and it just doesn't happen. Whenever you start making mistakes and the other team stops, as happened in that first set, that's when you're in a lot of trouble. As Jared Johnson able to fight that one off, but not able to really get the ball in the air for Prairiland to make a play. And now a 6-point lead. This time, no one comes in to make a play on the ball.
Wondering where the set was on that one. Prairiland not really able to execute their sets and spikes so far in this one.
Jones with a hard cross-court hit. Returned by Hughes Springs, setting up for Bettis. Just going to give it a push over the net. Nice hard swing from Hughes Springs, but Fox is there to dig it out. And then this one goes well out of bounds, 15-7 Hughes Springs. The Prairiland Lady Patriots, they'll have a nice run of playing some really quality volleyball. And then there will be just a moment of kind of where did that come from?
Absolutely, and we've seen them miss some handles in this game that have been very uncharacteristic of them thus far.
This one from Bettis is going to go out. Set up by Johnson and sent over by Bettis. Jones with the hit, and they're going to say that it landed in. I wasn't entirely sure from our angle, but
Hughes Springs crowd, audible groan on that one.
16-8. And it'll be Bettis to serve. Nice serve and a job well done to dig that one out from Hughes Springs. Great defensively. Diving for that one is Bettis, and then it finds the middle of the floor. Just a little miscommunication from Hughes Springs, but that doesn't happen if you don't have the diving effort from Bettis.
And that's not a good feeling for the ball to fall right in between you and teammates, but Hughes Springs, we're going to want to see them be able to get back to what we know they can do, and that's run an efficient offense.
Bettis sends it over. Hughes Springs. Bump, set, Jones. Lady Mustangs, a cross-court set of their own, and able to get the deflection off of Prairiland. And so back to an 8-point lead for the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. This is about where it came unwound for Hughes Springs in the last set. A little bit bigger lead this time as Prairiland takes a timeout. 18-9. We'll take a timeout with them. You're watching Prairiland Lady Patriot Volleyball on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff. And I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh yeah, Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
And back on Game Day as the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs have a 9-point lead here in the second set, 18-9 over your Prairiland Lady Patriots. And for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, like I said, they trailed 19-13 in that first set and then stormed back. Storm's going to have to be a little bit heavier this time around if they want to make a comeback in the second set as Jones pushes it over. Great defensive effort from the Prairiland Lady Patriot back row. And there's a push cross court.
That's great placement by Hughes Springs. We've seen the Lady Patriots look out of sorts in terms of their communication. If you aren't able to make the comeback as the Lady Patriots in this one, you're going to want to establish something to build on. So what that is going to mean is getting the ball to your impact players, letting them get re-involved in this match.
And one thing that'll help is Hughes Springs, inviting you back into the game with a service into the net.
Absolutely, and the net monster has been hungry in this one. We'll see which team can keep it out of the net here.
Well, let's see what they determine here. Yeah, they're going to say this one went out.
Maybe fortunate the miss on the handle there.
Yeah, she took a swing to bump and just kind of missed and end up going her way for Hughes Springs.
And unlike in golf, the miss swing does not count as a stroke, and the point goes to Hughes Springs.
And this time, Prairiland Lady Patriots collect the point, and it will be their service. Going over to Brooklyn Robertson. She's got 11 kills, or 11 aces on the season. There's a nice block at the net, but just kind of went straight up and down as that time Patton, I think, lost the ball when it went in the air.
Prairiland, what they need to get back to is team defense in this one. I mean, that was an incredible block from a ball that had a lot of power on it, just not able to handle it on the back end.
There's back set dump. This time a real set. Patton takes a swing. Hughes Springs defensively digs it out. And then there's O'Neal. Hughes Springs playing well defensively. Just seems like they're not letting anything hit the floor. And then for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, things like that happen.
And we've seen them be able to make some good plays in this one when they can set it up like they want to. Been a little bit out of sorts on the communication. That will be an emphasis, no doubt, between this set and the next.
Nice serve from Hughes Springs. Just what you want. Barely clear the net, maybe even get a piece of it. Top spin rotation. And they're going to say that this went over to the Prairiland Lady Patriots. Maybe a hand on the net.
That's what it looked like from here. That's the hardest kind of serve to defend, one that drops just above the net with some good spin on it.
Nonetheless, the point will be with the Prairiland Lady Patriots. And again, ball just not really doing what you need it to. Patton got a hand on it, but can't quite get it over the other way, can't quite get it in the air. And now Hughes Springs on the verge of winning the second set. Bettis with a nice kill. That's probably about as good of a swing as we've seen all night.
And that's the thing about the Lady Patriots. I mean, you've got impact players who can get you some great kills if you can get them the ball.
Nice serve from Prairiland. Good return from Hughes Springs. And they're saying, hey, let's just set up Addie.
And that's exactly what they need to do. Great kill on that one, giving Prairiland something to build on going into the next set.
Back-to-back big swings from Bettis. Prairiland, of course, a long way to go here in the second set. Another good serve. And they're going to say she got into the net. And that'll go over to the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs as Patton, not sure if in the net or under and crossing. Either way, It'll be set point for Hughes Springs. And Bettis determined. And this one nearly hit into the practice court. 24-15. And, you know, whenever you have a deficit like this or a lead like this, you could really go either way with it. And we're seeing this from Bettis. You kind of put the crafty stuff away and you say, man, let's just go swing for the fences and see what we can get.
And that is playing very much to Prairiland's advantage. Into their strength is, you know, swinging right for the fences. Bettis on the delivering end of a few of them.
Fox with a nice ace on that service.
This is just what you want if you're Prairiland. Going into the next set, doing what you know you can do, running the sets and spikes that you need.
And another ace. And that ball had something wicked on it. Prairiland attempting the comeback here, 24-18. And we're going to keep it right here on Game Day for you guys. And Evan, obviously this is a situation, you know, you kind of get things going with, you know, they're at 24. You're reeling off a few points. It's really tough to limit 0 points. You know, we've got to go 7 straight now for the Prairiland Lady Patriots. But something that you've been emphasizing is pretty much saying, you know what, let's take this momentum, and even if we drop this one, let's carry it into the next set and get off to a hot start.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. But if you're Hughes Springs here, you can't unravel in this one. You have all the momentum right now, and you want to carry it into that next set. So you need to calm down and just get one good point here, and don't let the Lady Patriots make this one interesting.
But if you are the Prairiland Lady Patriots, and it does get interesting, that'll be back-to-back sets where Hughes Springs really, you know, kind of did it to themselves. And there's another one, 24-19 now. And even though you are, again, 1 point away from taking this set, those thoughts, you know, you can't let the intrusive thoughts win.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just like a long drive. The last 5 minutes takes the longest. That last point can feel the hardest to get.
And it is hard to come by here as the Prairiland Lady Patriots knocking on the doorstep of something remarkable.
And Hughes Springs has undone themselves with some mistakes, but we've seen Prairiland play with great resolve in this one. Some resilience, able to hang on.
Into the net.
And that is officially uncomfortable territory if you're Hughes Springs.
Yeah, now you can tell just from the feet, from the placement for Hughes Springs, the equilibrium a little bit off. That one might have been out. They play it in anyway. Setting up Bettis, and it goes right into the official. And we have a 2-point ball game here.
And that is what you can't do.
Yeah, timeout, Hughes Springs, 24-22. Can Prairiland complete the comeback? Coming up here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
And back on Game Day, and suddenly this second set is very interesting, 24-22. And the Prairiland Lady Patriots, who are down by as much as 12, have stormed back, just as they did in the first set. The first set they started a little earlier, had a little margin for error. Here, no margin for error, and they've done it anyway. You've got to kill 2 more points, and there's one to extend this set.
These kind of runs happen when you've got a server in the back who's kind of got your number. It can feel like you're just scrambling for answers.
Yeah, and that ball doing some crazy things off the arm of Fox, and there it is. We're tied up, 24-24. And not that you necessarily have breathing room, but it feels like you do.
You've got to love this if you're rooting for the Lady Patriots in this one. You've seen them play with some incredible moxie. See if they can take this match point.
So Hughes Springs trying to salvage something as Bettis cross-court hit. Fox, bump, set. There's Bettis. Does it find the floor? No. Great job by Hughes Springs. Oh, and Prairiland gets caught looking.
That one. And that's huge.
And you could hear the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs kind of erupt and sigh relief. However, here comes Prairiland right back. 25-25. And Hughes Springs gave up, I believe, 10 straight points as they go to a sudden shift in formation as Bettis goes to serve.
This is kind of where you're going to see your stars rise. I mean, they're coming back from a 12-point deficit.
That time running a little bit hot on that spike. Goes 26-25. And now Hughes Springs just in disarray. It wasn't necessarily that difficult to handle. They just got bodies crossed.
We've seen both teams struggle a little bit with communication in this one. As the season goes on, you start to see girls who understand each other more, who know what the person in front of them is going to do.
This one into the net, and Prairiland leads. And this is their first lead of the set. Simply remarkable. White looking to close it out.
We'll want to see Prairiland go straight for the jugular here. Set it up to one of your star players and get the kill.
They're going to have to bump and send it. Fox, there's the bump, and there's a big swing and a hit, and Prairiland wins the set. A remarkable comeback, and they take a 2-0 lead. They'll switch sides. We'll go to the third set. You're listening to Prairiland Lady Patriot Volleyball here on Game Day.
Whoa.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the Loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit moorecdjr.com. At Moore Chrysler.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
Prairiland Lady Patriot cheerleaders out here tonight for some Prairiland volleyball. Thank you to our cheer sponsor, Sky Athletics, for being a part of Game Day and supporting our local cheerleaders in Lamar County. We got about a minute 45 before the third set. And Evan, if you're Prairiland, you feel obviously fantastic. If you're Hughes Springs, man, I don't know how you come back from the first set where you had a comfortable lead, and then the second set where you had it in the bag. I mean, it was right there for the taking. You dropped both of them, and now Prairiland on the verge of a sweep.
From the perspective of Hughes Springs, you know, this is what really contests you as a coach, in that how do you, after blowing a massive lead in the second set, how do you lead your girls into battle, now down 2-0 on the match? We're going to see how they respond after Prairiland showing some great moxie to pull off the comeback and win the second straight set.
Yeah, and looking at both teams, I think that obviously Prairiland is feeling confident. On the other side, I don't necessarily see bad body language from the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs, and that's something that gets talked about a lot in volleyball, is a next ball mentality. And if you're the Prairiland Lady Patriots, you feel that this game is certainly going your way, maybe even invincible to a degree because of how you've come back in both of those sets. But on the same note, for Hughes Springs, you can feel okay, as it seems they do on their sideline. But on the same note, coming out here, it's going to feel like no lead is safe.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're Hughes Springs, you know, it's like you said, Steven, that next set mentality, you know, we don't see any sort of negativity over there. It looks very clinical. We're going to want to see how Hughes Springs is able to respond to this one.
And the Prairiland Lady Patriots coming out with Robertson, Patton, Johnson, O'Neill, White, and Bettis on the floor. As Hughes Springs takes to the court as well for set number 3. And if you're the Prairiland Lady Patriots, I think that your message from your coach is essentially going to be, hey, let's get off to a hotter start. You know, let's get this thing rolling from the jump at 0-0 instead of when we're down by 7 or 10 or 12 and then having to make a comeback.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, nothing but good vibes here in the land. You want to keep that rolling if you're Prairiland. And what you learned about yourself in those first 2 sets, you know, you don't have to get extravagant with it. You can really just play to your strengths, and so far that's done well for them against Hughes Springs.
It'll be Reese White. She will serve to start the 3rd set here in Pattonville. In a beautiful place, man. This gym is awesome. And right out of the gate, there you go. There's the ace, Reese White, who came in with 26 on the season. And this one catches the top of the net. But nonetheless, it must feel good to get that first point. Meanwhile, Hughes Springs trying to get this ball back over. They do. Johnson, big swing in the kill. And yeah, that is the ultimate goal in this 3rd set, is to get off to the good start. As Leland Jones and Kylie Fox coming in. Fox to serve. Had a huge part in that comeback in the 2nd set with a couple of aces.
The 2 teams knotted up at 2 here. If you're Prairiland and you can start out hot right here, you know, think about this from the perspective of Hughes Springs. If you have the script flipped on you, what you have to feel good about in those first 2 is that you were able to dominate them early. But if Prairiland's able to come out here and flip the script, that could change things dramatically.
Hughes Springs able to come away with the point. They take a 3-2 lead here in the third set. Fox and O'Neal with a nice hit. Returned by Hughes Springs, but this one's going to go long. Point goes over to the Prairiland Lady Patriots.
That's just great sense on the back row. Being able to calculate that ball and understanding that that's just going to land right beyond the line.
O'Neal this time. And that time, it looked like Hughes Springs just found the hole in the floor.
It did. We saw a little bit of hesitation on the dig there.
White. Johnson with a nice swing. A little bit off the net, but had a phenomenal angle and the right rotation on that ball. It catches the top of the net. Here's Johnson. Nice serve and handled well by Hughes Springs. Fox to Johnson. There's Bettis. Does it fall in? Yes, it does.
Seeing Prairiland start to play with some confidence now, and well earned after that comeback. The thing will be for them, if they're able to hang on and take this team in straight sets, will be the communication and minimizing the mistakes.
They say it's not a matter of if the ball was in or out, but more so Hughes Springs got a touch on it. Now Johnson, that's a nice serve. Job well done by Hughes Springs to handle that one. And they'll put a good swing on it and find the floor. So a back and forth third set opening this one up. Prairiland leading 2-0. And if you're Prairiland, you're fine going point for point in the beginning because you've dominated the back end of both of the first 2 sets. Fox sends it over. That had an interesting angle to it. And Prairiland defensively does a great job at the net. And finally, Addie Bettis, kind of with a running swing. You have to be able to, what I guess you could say is play awkwardly when that ball is caught in the net and you're just kind of trying to pop it in the air and you know, you're kind of running into each other. You have to have good communication. You have to be able to play in those uncomfortable circumstances, and Prairiland did a great job there.
Absolutely. You know, volleyball can be an unpredictable sport. Sometimes you don't know where the ball's going to go. It's not like what you've seen in practice, but Prairiland able to hang with that one.
And this time Hughes Springs coming away with the point. 6-6.
It's like you said, Steven, for Prairiland to be able to kind of flip the script and be knotted up with Hughes Springs at this point bodes very well for them, as we've seen them dominate the back half of these last 2 sets.
And this time Bettis put a big swing on it, but couldn't get that downward trajectory. And it sails long. And Hughes Springs will be of service. And that goes over to the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. And, you know, that's the kind of situation that I'm referring to is you go up for the double block at the net. Ball stays over on your side. You got to be able to find a way to keep that one.
Absolutely, and the net is has been a huge random element today, and we've seen it so far favor one team or the other.
Watching this young lady from Hughes Springs serve, I like the technique because she's a shorter player, as Patton puts a swing on it, but Hughes Springs is able to keep it alive, and Fox with a dive, O'Neal rather. But watch her when she serves. It's almost like she's swinging up at the ball, but that's to get that top spin on it so that it falls when it gets over the net. Timeout on the floor, 10-6. We're going to keep it right here on Game Day for the time being, and Hughes Springs getting a little bit of a lead. 4 is the biggest lead that we've seen here in the third set, and I think that that's a phenomenal time to take a timeout for the Prairiland Lady Patriots. And the reason being is because you've seen Hughes Springs blossom leads out, and you had to make this comeback. I think that it's good to say, hey, look, we're not going to let this thing stretch out to 6 or 7 before we call a timeout. Let's settle down now and see if we can't play in the third set the way we played in the second half of the first and second.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're Prairiland, that's not ideal for you. That's not how you want to draw it up, to have these big deficits and then come back at the end. What we see is teams that are able to ride out the swings are the best ones that are the most durable throughout the season.
O'Neal, there's the set, a good swing. Hughes Springs going to have to work to send it back over, and they do. Johnson, nice, clever dump, but Lady Mustangs do a good job of handling it. Some good defense being played here on this rally, and this one falls side of the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs, but they're able to get it back over.
And those second chance digs are so important. Hughes Springs able to get a big one there if they want to hang on to this lead.
He certainly had some net movement. We'll see if this one, yeah, there you go, Patton. A little too hot to handle on that swing and kill.
I'm glad they let it play out. The contact with the net is marginal. You do want to let the play continue, and it works to Prairiland's advantage in that case.
And also, of course, there's the element of the ball making contact, and so it's just going to depend on why that net is moving. As this will be Bettis serving with her team trailing 10-7. And a nice strong kill there for Hughes Springs.
And that's one you really can't let get into your head. You know, we've seen some players miss handles in this game, but oftentimes those very same ones are able to come back and make big plays. So
11-7, and there it is again. And that's really been one of the things that has aided. Now, Prairiland has played good enough to come back and win in those first 2 sets, but Hughes Springs, you can tell that the mind starts working, kind of starts running a little bit quick upstairs.
Absolutely, and we saw it in that second set in Hughes Springs' body language, the foot movements on the floor. You could kind of tell they were out of sorts. And that's one thing you see later on in sets when you feel a lead slipping away from you, is the communication kind of go away and players not to talk to each other as much. That's what ended up getting Hughes Springs, and we'll see if they can hang on to the lead in this one.
And that time, Bettis, ball coming at her, just, which way do I put my hands? And there's the net again.
Undefeated in this one.
In all of them. So here's Fox. Fox serving was a huge part of that comeback in the second set.
It was, and we've seen great serving technique from both opposing liberos in this one. Fox played a pivotal role in Prairiland's comeback in the last one. Sit sails by her there.
That time, just a good hard swing. (14-9). It almost has the feeling of we got them right where we want them, you know?
Want to see me do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. And that one goes out. (14-10) here in the third set. Prairiland, a remarkable comeback in that second set. A remarkable comeback in the first set as they trailed 19-13. Trying to make life a little easier on themselves here to close it out and get the sweep. And meanwhile, Hughes Springs, they're thinking, look, this is the part of this set we have to maintain our composure.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're Hughes Springs in this one, you know, these non-district games are to build that strength and resilience, and the last thing you want to do is come in here and lose in straight sets.
Meanwhile, for the Prairiland Lady Patriots, you can't rely on comebacks like that, and that one goes out. Or does it?
Absolutely. You know, it is a lot like basketball. It's a sport of runs, and you want to establish your identity as a team that can ride out the swings. You don't want to rely on major changes and comebacks like that one, although speaks very well to your strength, your composure, if you are able to get that win.
Fox to Johnson and Bettis. And it just seems like Hughes Springs not letting anything hit the floor here in the third set. Bettis lays out, great effort. Just can't get the ball back in play, and now 19-10. Like you said, you can't rely on big comebacks. Got off to a good start, just going point for point, blow for blow. Had a lead. Now, granted, when I say lead, it was 6-5. But nonetheless, that's a better start than the first two sets that you won. And this time getting caught in the net, 20-10.
Hughes Springs can take this game. I think that dramatically changes the complexion of this one. I mean, we've seen them dominate the early portions of these games, and obviously these girls have a comeback in mind.
Johnson to O'Neal. O'Neal, Johnson, Bettis pushes it over. And that push back from Hughes Springs, not where it needed to be. 20-11, and 1 point, no big deal. I tell you, if they let Prairiland have 2 or 3 here, it's going to be a tough mental challenge for Hughes Springs.
Yeah, if you come in and blow double-digit leads twice in a row, I mean, that's the kind of game that makes you afraid for film the next day.
Yeah. Well, and regardless of kind of how it goes, there's going to be a lot of what-if talk from Hughes Springs. Prairiland, I mean, surely not in this one. I mean, you can't do it 3 sets in a row if you're Hughes Springs, and obviously Prairiland Lady Patriots have it in them. But we're at 23-11, And we have a timeout. We're going to step aside and take one with them. You're watching Prairiland Lady Patriot Volleyball on Paris Gameday.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you gonna clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you gonna clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
I want to thank our presenting sponsors here tonight for bringing us out to Prairiland, Texas Furniture and Appliance, as well as Red River Credit Union, RRCU. They make it possible for Paris Gameday to be here tonight, and they make it possible for Paris Gameday to exist. So thank you to those great businesses here in town as we get back to it here in the third set, 23-11. Stephen Johnston, Evan Brazil bringing you tonight's broadcast. And if you're just tuning in, the Prairiland Lady Patriots have been on the comeback trail in the first set, winning 25-21 after trailing 19-13, and then winning the second set in remarkable comeback fashion. They ended up winning that one 27-26. However, no comeback this time around. It ends 25-11. Prairiland still with a 2-1 lead over the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs. They will swap sides, and we'll be back in 1 minute to bring you set number 4 from the land. You're watching Prairiland Lady Patriot Volleyball here on Gameday.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
About a minute and a half left in this intermission between set 3 and 4 between Prairiland and Hughes Springs. Prairiland leading 2-1. And, you know, there was a timeout in there, Evan. I think it was 23-11. And when we went to timeout, we looked at each other. We were like, surely
no way.
No. Not this time. But nonetheless, the Prairiland Lady Patriots, you know, you need one set. They need two. Obviously, the Hughes Springs Lady Mustangs collected a lopsided set win there in the third. But Prairiland, it seems like when they really get going, when they really get hot, defensively they're so sound, and then they can play long enough to where it's like, who's going to blink first, like you said earlier, who's going to make that first mistake. And they played so incredibly well in the back end of the first set and the second set that it was just up to Hughes Springs to mess it up, and that just kept happening.
Absolutely, and we've seen some very great defensive stretches from the Lady Patriots in this one. I mean, volleys that are changing possession 9, 10 times. You know, it bodes really well for you to be able to be the team who can kind of hang with the change in possessions, who can win those long volleys and get those tough points. If you're Hughes Springs, if you had let them score even a few, you feel like maybe feelings of deja vu start to creep in, so very good for them. able to end the set.
And right out of the gate, finding a hole in Prairiland's defense. I want to thank my guy, David House from David House Jewelry, sponsoring tonight's contest. And there's that self-inflicted wound, a ball you've handled 100 times. Also, the great folks at First Federal Community Bank. I really appreciate them, as they were the very first ones when we were approaching people about sponsoring Game Day and making it happen. They were not just happy to come on, but enthusiastic, loving high school sports and knowing what it does for our young athletes. This one goes out, and Prairiland collects their first point of the fourth set. So it'll be Robertson. Got a double swing on that one. I want to know who made contact. That was interesting.
Hughes Springs, you feel a lot different about this match at this point than how you felt at the start of the last one. You feel like if you can mess around, pick up one set, I mean, you're tied. Just when you felt like, you were out of sorts, communication was breaking down, the back end of the defense was not doing what you wanted to do, but maybe you can find yourself if you're Hughes Springs at this moment.
I tell you, that serve, it's like an ephus pitch, It doesn't really look like anything, and then it's right there on you, and you're like, what the heck? Short this time. And that was what messed Prairiland up the previous serve, as they thought it was going to be short, and then it just kept on coming.
It's not even sneaky per se, but it just catches you off guard sometimes.
Oh, it's Henry Rowan Gardner, Whenever his mom tells him to float it after discovering the glove is hers. Point goes over to Prairiland, and this one's knotted up. 4-4 in the fourth. You could tell she was geared up, man.
I got it.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of loud vocal players, that you want. You want someone who's going to keep your team energized late in a match like this one.
This is O'Neal. And Hughes Springs punches that one into the net. And this is where Hughes Springs gets in trouble with the self-inflicted wounds, maybe trying to do a little bit too much. And Prairiland, when they start to play more sound, as Hughes Springs collects that kill, that's whenever the serious Prairiland runs happen.
Absolutely. And we've seen the Lady Mustangs kind of get into their head, Walking in here, Hughes Springs kind of felt like they had the aura of a team that thought they were the better one in this matchup, but Prairiland able to hang right with them and get some impressive comeback wins.
Oh, that was beautiful from White. Looked like the cross-court set was coming, and Hughes Springs adjusted to it. White sees the adjustment and just put the ball where the Hughes Springs player vacated.
That's just the hallmark of an experienced player, somebody who can find the opposing team out of rotation and put the ball right where it needs to be.
And that time, Bettis was licking her chops when that ball came back over. It was a fantastic serve, and sometimes a really good serve can result in that ball floating over just a little too much, and she put a hard swing on it. Hughes Springs sets up, blocked at the net. And now Prairiland off to the solid start. This is as good of a start to a set as we've seen from them tonight.
As a spiker, you know, what you always want is to impose your will on a defense. You know, you can get later in a game and see blockers flinching at what you're going to do, but Prairiland standing strong.
Absolutely. We want to thank Lone Star Collision Center for being a part of Paris Game Day, as well as Paris Lumber and Building Center. Those two fantastic sponsors make it possible, and Drake Construction as well. Thank you so much to them. And if it wasn't for those sponsors stepping up, being a part of Paris Game Day and supporting your kids, then we wouldn't be out here tonight. We wouldn't be out at Cooper on Friday as the Chisholm Mustangs head into Bulldog territory. Very excited for that one. Chisholm is off to a fantastic, hot start to the season, especially offensively. And the Cooper Bulldogs always a power in their division and classification.
Well, absolutely, and that's a big game, big rivalry matchup, district matchup early in the season. See if the Mustangs and left tackle Jace Brazil can't put a lick on them.
There you go, a little plug there for the brother. I tell you, she came in flying, looked like she was about to drill that one to the center of the earth, and then just missed it.
And it's not a great feeling to be in midair and realize you miscalculated your jump. We've seen, this is, for Prairiland, something we have not seen thus far, them dominating the early proceedings here.
Good job defensively from Hughes Springs to dig that one up. Bettis puts a hard hit on it, and it'll be a matter of if Hughes Springs can get it back over. They cannot. 11-5, yeah, this is the best start to a set they've had.
See this more with younger players, but you know, when there's a ball that's out of bounds and that you need to save, not setting the feet when you absolutely have time to. Mental mistakes for Hughes Springs, big reason why they're down in this one.
And there's another point to the Prairiland Lady Patriots. We'd like to thank Harrison Walker and Harper, another phenomenal sponsor of Paris Game Day. (12-5) is our contest here in the fourth set. Prairiland looking to close it out. At this point, going over to Hughes Springs, making it 12-6. And I tell you, if you're just now tuning in, the first two sets were about as exciting a volleyball as you're going to find as Bettis comes in. Hughes Springs defensively doing an amazing job. I mean, Bettis put a hard swing on that, but Hughes Springs able to get it back up and get it over and collect the point.
Absolutely, and she does a great job to split the two defenders there, but great defense by Hughes Springs in the back end.
And now slammed into the net, 12-8. And finally, we'd like to thank Montgomery Moore and Moore CDJR sponsoring Paris Game Day. He and I had several phenomenal conversations about Game Day and what it could bring to Lamar County, as this one point is going to go over to Prairiland, just wide as Leland Jones comes in.
And those ones are frustrating, but, you know, there's a reason it's thought of as the toughest place to put the ball, right in no man's land along the end line there.
Fox, this one just catches the top of the net, and she's a little bit stunned.
She had been on a dominant run earlier, but that's one she'll normally have.
And now from the Prairiland libero serving to the Hughes Springs libero serving. And this young lady had some good services as well. And this one sails wide, so two young ladies who really contributed to their team, making great runs in prior sets. They go fault for fault, if you will. And now Bettis. That's a nice one.
Too hot to handle.
Yeah, you kind of get caught in between. Do I want to be the one to set this up, or do I let it go to my back row?
We've seen both teams, struggle to set up the kind of traditional set and spike.
And that time, the net with the assist. 16-9, and for Prairiland, it's got to feel good to have a lead. They're trying to close this one out, and the most that they've led by prior to this set was the 4 that they won set 1 in, 25-21.
Prairiland overcoming a deficit in set 1 to win by 4. Coming back from down 12 in the second set, and then narrowly dropping set 3. Rather not narrowly, but find ourselves in a dogfight now. See who's the better team, who can hang with the swings here.
And there's a hard one from Reese White. Fox. And a great job that time from O'Neal. And that's a tough angle, going cross court on the spike, and Hughes Springs unable to handle it. And the Prairiland Lady Patriots can smell blood here in the fourth set. Now 18-10. Timeout. Hughes Springs, Prairiland looking to walk out with the W here tonight. We're going to be right back on Paris Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
And back on Game Day, White with the serve. Prairiland leading 2-1 and leading 18-10 in this third set. As Johnson with the swing, they're going to say tip. No, goes over to Hughes Springs. Prairiland was asking for it.
Hughes Springs does get a break there. Prairiland catching them out of rotation. You're going to need a few lucky breaks to get back in this one, down 2 sets.
And there's a lucky break. Fox played it well. And then right in between, you have two Lady Patriots. Just can't come up with who's going to handle the next ball. Set to Johnson with a big kill. That'll get you back into form.
Absolutely it will, you know. It's like I say, that's the hardest thing to teach. One of the, in volleyball, it's the ball placement.
Prairiland had given up the first 2 points out of that timeout. And then Johnson got the big kill, and Hughes Springs responding. And you know how this game has gone here tonight, that Hughes Springs isn't going to go quietly, by no means, but Prairiland, this is about as comfortable as they've been all evening.
Hughes Springs not allowing them to grow this lead.
There's Johnson again with a big swing from the outside, and Hughes Springs unable to get a fist on that ball to get it in the air. 20-13.
If you're Prairiland, you want to play to your strengths here. This is where you're going to land that knockout punch. So get the ball to your best players and let them do what they do.
A great job by Patton, rising tall at the net.
And that's such a satisfying play as a blocker to put the ball right back behind the spiker who just sent it to you.
And now O'Neal thinking about closing this one out here tonight at the Land. Here's Bettis. Yeah. And I tell you, when she gets a swing on it like that,
almost don't know what to do.
Person on the receiving end just having a heck of a time as O'Neal, now Prairiland with a 9-point lead.
When you can get it going that fast, I mean, you know, if she's had a little bit more time to process, she probably would have realized that ball was going to go out of bounds, but
22-14. Prairiland sitting pretty comfortably here, though it doesn't seem like anything's been comfortable tonight, but...
Oh, absolutely. If Hughes Springs can go on a run here, we start to get deja vu.
And again, we've seen that a few times from different girls on the floor. You know, ball, nothing that's too imposing, but just mishandled. And this one a little bit long on the service, 23-15.
And a great checked swing there on the back row.
Jara Johnson. That was going to be close. Hughes Springs decides to play it. And now the Prairiland Lady Patriots 1 point away from walking out of this one with a victory over Hughes Springs and a 3-game win streak. Johnson. Set up by Hughes Springs. Johnson will set it. And Bettis and Patton kind of falls in between them. So the anticipation will linger a little bit longer.
Hitting the ball right up like that, you know, it's a mistake and you watch it hang up in the air, but one thing you learn to do over time is to run away screaming from that one. Somebody else got to get in there.
And here it hits the standard. That'll do it. Just a ball that was delivered at an awkward angle. And that will be the final point, and how this one ends, 25-16. The Prairiland Lady Patriots win it 3-1 over Hughes Springs. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. For Evan Brazil, Reed Preston, Ava Langley, Jordan Wise, and Derek Jones operating the cameras tonight, we say so long.